let's jump in with our best and worst of today's practice, which did happen, which was a nice day today, and it was a fun practice to watch as well. My best is just everybody coming back to the party. Montez Sweat out there, Kyler Gordon out there. That was great to see. He had a PBU during the practice too on Gerald Everett at one point, which was it's like, oh, there's Kyler Gordon. That's good to see him back out there looking like he usually does. Nate Davis with pads on his shoulders. That was a sight to see. And he didn't finish practice because I think he was probably on a rep count. This was one of these guys we've been seeing this happen. It's not like they get pulled because of injury. It's just sort of at one point they just sort of walk over to the strength and conditioning staff and start doing work over there. Today that was Tyreek Stevenson. But Tyreek Stevenson was back for a big portion of practice. So just seeing all those guys back. Did I miss anyone in terms of guys returning?
So you saw a little bit of Noah Sewell out there. He was out there. I think that was the first day, honestly, that I've seen him in pads and all this training camp, to be completely honest. But I think you got the major ones there, Adam.
Yeah. So that was great to see. My best of the day for sure. My worst, I'm going to steal Greg's from yesterday because there was an update on this and it was not good for the Minnesota Vikings. They're really football fans who just want to see, the best players out on the field. But after going in to do that meniscus surgery on JJ McCarthy, they did determine that they had to do a full repair and he's out for the year. So JJ McCarthy, Pride of Nazareth, local kid here in Chicago who drafted in first round by the Minnesota Vikings, will not play this year. That's just kind of a bummer. And we were sort of talking about this a little bit after yesterday's show. Bears fans have had it rough, but if you talk to, and I got a lot of family up there in Minnesota, you talk to these Minnesota sports fans, they've been through a lot. They because most of their teams kind of flirt with being great and then manage to have something horrible happen, like in heartbreaking fashion. And this just seems to be like the latest punch to the face for Vikings fans and Minnesota sports fans out there. And a bummer because I want to see JJ McCarthy. I know Steven, our producer, big JJ McCarthy guy. So Sam Darnold, Nick Mullins is the backup. Jaron Hall for BYU, the third stringer right now. We'll see how that all plays out if they add anybody. But it looks like it's going to be the Sam Darnold show in the NFC North, wearing purple.
Little Steven, you got a moment of silence for your guy?
Yeah, well, I'm really bummed out for him because I know he's going to be a good player. Obviously, the local product, everything like that. But with that said, obviously, injury worst case scenario. I did feel that it would have been better for him to kind of sit back and develop a little bit before he got thrown into game action. So I know it sounds weird to say, but maybe it's an odd blessing in disguise for JJ McCarthy moving forward to just kind of learn the offense, learn the ins and outs of the NFL, and then hit the ground running next season.
Yeah, I agree, Steven, because we've been through this. I talked about this yesterday. These teams, we're going to develop them. We're going to sit them, and then it never happens. And this is going to sort of force the Vikings' hand. It will. They have no option but to sit him here. And the only bummer is you don't get the physical rep, right? So it's going to have to be the mental reps. When Jordan Love's sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, at least he's practicing. At least he's getting all those physical reps. So it won't be quite the same thing. But I also don't think it at least rules out the worst case scenario, which is what the mistake the Bears have made too many times, which is forcing a guy in too early, developing bad habits, start seeing ghosts, like the guy who's starting now for the Vikings, who he went through that, Sam Darnold. Anyway, that was kind of the big news of the day, and that was my worst of what's been happening so far here on August 14th. Nick, why don't you jump in with your best and worst?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with that play that you referenced earlier, Adam, for my best was just seeing Kyler Gordon out on the field. And the first time he gets in with the first team defense in the 11-on-11s, Caleb Williams gets the defensive draw offside. So he's trying to take advantage of this play and he's looking down the middle of the field. Gerald Everett looks like he's going to make a catch, but Kyler Gordon right there, right on time, is able to knock the pass out of Everett's hands in the middle of the field. So yes, the offense still gets the benefit of the penalty, but they don't get that free play to Everett. So it was nice seeing Kyler Gordon, who has missed some time dealing with tightness in at lower leg, get back onto the football field, make a play, just make the most out of his opportunity there. He did leave towards the end of practice. He actually started with the first team. He actually then went and repped a few plays with the second team defense, and then his day was done. So probably like some kind of pitch count, but it was good to see number 6 out there. My worst, you guys, is someone that we're still waiting to see on the football field, and that's Jaquan Brisker. We really don't know what the severity of his injury is up to this point. And, he's a guy that likes to go on social media, will be on Twitter. 18 hours ago, God sat me down. Now I understand. Prayer emoji, smiley face emoji. I'll be ready. Hashtag no comparisons with the arrow, bow and arrow. So we haven't seen that full secondary in some time. We're starting to see bits and pieces with Gordon, even Tyreek Stevenson a little bit, but we're still waiting on number 9, Jaquan Brisker, to round out the entire secondary. So just waiting to see when he does get back onto the football field. But that's going to be my worst from today, not seeing Jaquan Brisker out there.
Greg?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to be properly introduced into my part of best and worst. So that's all, I know normally I jump in and just start screaming. My best.
It's very confusing. It's very confusing to figure it out. I mean, you're either going to interrupt us mid-sentence or not speak when it's your turn, and it's really hard to figure it out.
There's no middle ground.
It's one or the other. There's no just seamless transition.
It's like jazz. It's like jazz. To me, my best, and you can argue that this one's like a tough one. It's like best. It's like a best and a worst, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And so my best is the cadence is starting to become a strength, at least in the last couple practices for the offense. We've talked so much about the false starts being an issue here for practices. And for me here at these 8 open practices that they've had, it's a daily occurrence. And now all of a sudden, to my recollection, and Nick, I know you do a good job, and Hogue, you guys do a good job of taking notes, but I don't remember a false start happening all day today. But I do know that the offense got the defense to jump off sides multiple times. In that Gerald Everett play that you're referencing, that Kyler Gordon had the pass breakup, that was a free play. That was an offsides on the defense, and then Caleb let it rip down the seam to Gerald Everett. Nice play to finish the play by Kyler Gordon on defense, but ultimately a free play, so no harm, no foul. Tyson Bagent got a couple guys to jump off sides a few times. So you're starting to see the cadence start to turn the corner where it had been an issue. Caleb Williams had talked about how that's something that he needs to continue to improve on. And now I think you're starting to see that development in that area. I think also a best would be that DJ Moore, ended up being okay. Cause at one point it looked like he was hurt pretty bad, taken off to the side, but then he was able to return to practice and run some routes in 11 on 11s. I don't think he got a ball after that, but he did return to practice. So that's definitely it. And then for me, I think my worst is easily that this is more than likely going to be the last open practice for fans. That's always a sad time. It's exciting because that means we're closer to the regular season, but training camp is something I've always loved for the last 20, 25 years. And, family day not being able to happen because of some conflicting scheduling stuff with concert. Then you have your chance to see, a joint practice last year at Indianapolis. That was great. So it's just training camp, understandably so, is getting cut down more and more and more every year as the years go and the decades go. And so it does seem like there's a very strong likelihood that the open practice tomorrow might not happen. And if that's the case, then that's a wrap for fans in the stands at Hallis Hall. And that's always kind of a sad thing. And then we look ahead to the final preseason games in week 1. But, so that's my preemptive worst. And again, it's the good old bricklayers jinx. I had to make sure I threw it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then believe it or not, since we were just talking about JJ McCarthy, my guy Alec Lewis, who covers the Vikings for The Athletic, has been tweeting that Jordan Addison just went down in practice. He leapt for a contested ball. He's hobbling off with the help of trainers, and then he got on a cart. Teammates came over to give him high fives. Justin Jefferson patted him on the helmet. He's being carted back. Now, a couple things here. Obviously, I'm not there. I can't see what's going on. But it's not like a cart came out and got him off the field. There's a difference between, being carted off the field and getting on a cart once you've been able to leave, limping. And also they are in Cleveland right now in joint practices with the Browns. So I have no idea what the practice setup is and stuff there is. Anybody who gets hurt in a Bears practice on fields 3 and 4 is also going to get on a cart to get back to the facility because it's relatively far away. So might just be sort of a regular training camp injury. But we'll have to monitor that one as the news just continues to get worse and worse for the Minnesota Vikings, apparently.
Yikes. Yikes.
Not good.
Well, yeah, and like I said, you saw that today with DJ Moore and Jalen Johnson going to the left sidelines. Caleb throws it up, and Jalen's just sticking all over DJ. They fall to the ground. He immediately grabs at his leg, foot area, takes him a minute to get up. His teammates had to help him get up, take him to the other side of the field. Trainers looked at him for a while, and for me, my eyes were at there was a few plays that went on during that session, and I'm just looking at DJ because that's kind of what's in the balance. I'll still hold to that. You gotta grind through these days at camp. You gotta grind through your reps in the preseason, and you hope for the best if you want to be ready for week 1. But at the end of the day, these are the things that are at risk, and you never like to see anybody go down, whether it's for your own team or other teams.
We all silly like the mayor.